All right. Hey, everybody. I'm so excited to see everybody on here tonight. We got some good training planned. I'm so excited. It's about recruiting, and recruiting is definitely one of my favorite subjects. The main reason because you can make really good money in Tupperware, peddling plastic, going and doing the parties and all that good stuff. But if you really want to have long-term success and sustainable income, it comes through recruiting. And to some of you, that might be bad news. You know, you might be like, oh, I don't want to recruit. I'm just on here because my director bribes me, whatever. Okay. It really truly does come from that. And I talk about this all the time that, so say you're a phenomenal personal seller, right? You sell 4,000 plus a month. So you're easily bringing in $1,400 to $1,500 a month based on your personal sales. That's amazing. And that isn't chump change, okay? That's stuff that you can take to the bank and pay some bills with. That's wonderful. However, you could break your leg, or I don't know, something could happen. You're not able to physically go do those parties. All right. And then your income that's all the way up here goes really fast. Okay. And we don't like that. We don't want income like this. We want income like this. Right. And so when you recruit and you build a team, that helps take the highs and lows and make them a little less, take it from a wave to a wiggle. Right. That's what we want. We want a wiggle, right? Not a wave. All right. So it's really important to recognize that and just kind of take it to heart. All right. So like I said, if you're not that into recruiting, you're a little bit nervous about it, you're just not sure what's going on, you don't want to be responsible for other people, you don't want to be a manager. All right. Don't sweat that. I want you to take all this in and think about ways that you can do it in your business to help you go from the wave to the wiggle. All right, so I am going to be doing some reading, and I apologize for that. There's so much great information. I want to make sure I don't leave anything out, but I'm definitely going to be doing some elaborating on the things that I am reading, just with my own personal experiences, but also I'm going to open it up, and I want some feedback, because we're going to brainstorm a little bit here on ways to make this work, because I don't want anybody on here going, that's really great, Ellen, but... All right. I want you to get creative. I want you to think, okay, I love this idea. I can't do it the way she's talking about doing it. However, let me think about how I can make this work. So that's something that I want to kind of cover in the brainstorming. All right. And we have, like I said, a lot of material to cover. So I'm going to get started. All right. Let's see here. If you have background noise, make sure you mute. If you're just joining us, you can definitely feel free to go on the chat and just say what team you're with. If you know your team name or your director name, that is all good. All right. So today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow you want. Wow. Okay. I love quotes. You're going to find this out really quick if you're listening to Trainees by Me. I love quotes. I find them so inspiring. I like to reflect on them. I like to sometimes meditate around them. I think it's so powerful to kind of drink that kind of stuff in. And all right, hold on. We got a little bit of background noise. Let me see if I can mute a couple. So no biggie. If I mute you, it is not a punishment, okay? It's just to keep our recording nice and clean. And you can unmute at any time, all right? So don't stress about it. And if you're quiet, I'm just, don't worry about it. You can unmute yourself if I muted you. All right. So, but yeah, so think about that. Today is your opportunity to build the tomorrow that you want. Wow. That is powerful. And sometimes I see quotes like that and I'm kind of like, whoa, like that's significant. Am I going to Netflix and chill today? Is that going to build the tomorrow I want? No, it's not. Am I going to get on the phone and work my personal business? Is that going to build a better tomorrow? Yes, it is, because I'm going to be in front of more people and have more opportunities to make those relationships and such. All right. Am I going to clean my office until it is absolutely immaculate and everything's organized? Probably not, because that's not going to build a better tomorrow. It might give me peace of mind in the moment, right? And my office is not that messy. It's It's okay. But I do keep my office kind of a little bit in check, just because I do need space to be able to think, and I understand, like, as far as like energy flow and all that kind of good stuff, you need a creative space to be able to do that. So I do keep my office pretty neat and tidy. But am I going to waste a whole bunch of time when I need to be building my business and getting in front of people, cleaning my office? No, I'm not going to do that. So I want you to think about that. All right. So our first key success is to distinguish what you want. What is it that you want out of your business? What is it that you want in the next 30 days? What is it that you want a year from now, 3 months from now? What do you want your business to look like? It's really important to just kind of take a moment and recognize that, because if you don't know what you're going for, it's like shooting at a target and you're blindfolded, right? So you need to have something that you're working towards. And so it's important to recognize what it is that you want out of this business so that you have something to shoot for. And to be stronger than your excuses. Okay. We all have them. We all have excuses. And yeah, I mean, it's so important to recognize that and to push through it anyways. It's okay to do things when you're afraid. It's okay to do things when you're feeling overwhelmed. All right. Actually, the easiest way to kind of get past that overwhelmed is to take baby steps forward. Right. There's the saying, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So when you're feeling overwhelmed, you don't try to eat the whole elephant, right? You eat it one bite at a time. You want to make sure that you're just kind of, taking care of yourself and recognizing that, so that you don't get in that place of overwhelm. And you do get in that place of overwhelm, talk to us. That's what we're here for. We're your coaches. We're your mentors. Okay. Your upline director, myself, honestly, we do so much cross training and recruiting and helping at Champion that you honestly could go to anybody that you feel a connection with, and they, I'm sure, would definitely take a moment to help you get past that moment that you're having. So be stronger than your excuses. All right. So you make a decision. What is it that you want? Do you want to recruit 3 people, 5 people, 10 people in the next 30 days? What do you want to do, right? Some of you on here have definitely had some incredible recruiting success in the past. And so maybe you want to break your record. Maybe your record for a month is 6 personal recruits and you want to do 7. Maybe your record is 2 and you want to go for 3. Maybe you've never recruited before. I love that you're on here, regardless of what level that you're at, because you can always sharpen that saw. I mean, even today when I was working on this material, I was reminded of things that I kind of got away from doing, and I'm like, gosh, I need to bring that back around full circle. So what is it that you really want to accomplish? If you're hesitant, you become confused and indecisive. And that's when you're like, oh, should I really do that? I don't know. Could I? Maybe not. And you start second guessing yourself. You're overthinking it. And so you really want to be firm and like, this is what I want. This is what I'm working towards. And I'm going to get there, even if I have to keep recalculating. So this morning I had a recalculating morning. Like everything I tried to do, I got pushed 3 steps back. And I felt like all morning I was like, recalculating route, recalculating route, recalculating route. How am I going to get through this morning and like keep my sanity, right? And so then after everybody was where they needed to go, I found myself going, okay, what is my objective for today? Like I had to get clear on what it is I wanted so that I could fully recalculate back to where I wanted to go. And so it's really important to remember that and be able to do that. When you're confused and indecisive, you waffle and you lack clarity and commitment and never really create any real momentum. And success loves speed. All right. I remember when I first started in the business, people are like, they would say, oh, I do 3 parties a week. And I'm like, 3 parties a week? Oh my gosh, my head is spinning with like 4 a month. I'm like, how in the world? And they're like, actually doing more parties is easier than doing less parties. My bag's already packed. I already know the promotions. All I have to do is swap out, dirty dishes and get them back in there, or get some more order forms or whatever. And I was like, oh, I guess I never really thought of it that way. And I knew people that left their car packed even. Now I couldn't do that. I had strollers and all this other garbage, and inevitably, whenever I leave stuff like that in my car, I do a Sam's run and I come out with all the big stuff and I'm like, oh, we're at Tupperware too. So I got to move everything around. But I'm telling you, success loves speed. When you start practicing your recruiting skills and you start doing that, it's going to become second nature. And it is like a floodgate. You're planting all these seeds. Whether or not they're saying yes now, don't worry about that. You're planting these seeds and you're working towards this goal that you have, that you're very clear in your mind with. All right. So what is intention? You know, intention is basically like a goal. But sometimes I don't call it a goal, because I have found over the years, there are a lot of people that have a negative feeling around goals, because in the past they've tried something, didn't succeed, they've done, you know, they've done things, they feel like they got burned by a big goal that didn't end up happening, things along those lines. All right. So if you're one of those people, when Pam says, what's your goal? What's this? What's that? Right? And you go, oh gosh, if somebody says gold me one more time, right? If that's your vibe, you need to just switch your, you know, flip the script, okay? Because you need to just change the word, all right? There's some people that have issues with the word why. What's your why? What's your why? All right? And so the people that I have found that have like hangups with these words, I have a hangup with the word opportunity, okay? I don't like the word opportunity. When somebody says, I'd like to talk to you about an opportunity, I'm like, I don't know what it is. I just don't like it. All right. So I try not to use that word when I'm like talking about the opportunity. It just feels cheesy to me. Right. So I don't use it. So if the word goal bothers you, use something else. Your intention in your business, right? Your purpose, you know, that kind of stuff. All right. So just mess around with it until it works for you. All right. So most people get caught up on the outcome of the goal, that it diminishes their ability to enjoy the process and stay focused on the pleasurable feelings they bring, that bring the goal to fruition. And that is so unbelievably true. And I've said this many, many times. I had a label maker, right? And I made a long strip of a label and I put it right like on my laptop, like right by my keyboard, like right down there, like right where my keyboard was. So when I opened my laptop, it said, enjoy the process and let go of the outcome. And I had to have that daily reminder, because at the time the outcome was everything to me. I needed this. I needed this so bad. I needed it to work. I needed to succeed. My family needed the money. We needed everything. And I had such a hard time setting that aside so I could work my business and not get worked up when somebody told me no, or not get worked up when somebody canceled a party. And so I had to remember what parts of the process I really enjoyed. And so I remember so many times coming out of my office after making hours of phone calls, and my husband would say, so how'd it go? And I'm like, well, I didn't date any parties, but I had some really great conversations. And he would sometimes be like, tell me about them. And that was a way for me to kind of like get past that and realize this is a relationship business. And I truly believe that by putting that positive energy out there, that it will come back to me. And sometimes it's in the craziest form. Like you go to a vendor event and you put those positive vibes around your business, and then you get a phone call out of the blue, and you don't think the two are related, but they are. They're very related. When you have positive vibes around your business, you're working your business, you're creating this energy, it just puts it out there and things start coming to you. And so it's really important to always kind of keep that going. Lori's nodding her head. We've had lots of conversations about this, and she knows this to be true. And so, so it's really important to kind of recognize that. And we can control our attitude and our thoughts and our actions. And sometimes, it's the hardest thing to do. Sometimes it is the absolute hardest thing to do. And when we were going through our toughest times financially, I was determined. I was like, you know what? I can't choose what bill collector is going to call me today. I can't choose what my bank account is reading today. I can't choose these things, people suing us. I can't choose those things, but I can choose my attitude. And my kids are here and and you know what? It doesn't cost me anything to sit on the floor and play with them. It doesn't cost me anything to be nice to somebody. It doesn't cost me anything to smile when I want to cry. And so it's so important to recognize the things that you have control over, and you have control over your actions and your attitude all the time. So when you're in a mood, which sometimes happens, it happens to me, I will admit, probably more than I even realize, or than I'll admit. when you're in a mood, all right, recognize you got a choice if you're going to stay in that mood or if you're going to recalculate your route, right? Recalculate. I mean, at one point I walked out of the kitchen. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm just standing, I'm my back to everybody. And I'm standing there going, what do I do? What do I do? This is not working. And I grabbed my phone, I turned on music, and I was like, music changes the vibe. Music changes the vibe. And like, you know, so whatever you have to do to recalculate this route, do it. All right. The secret of manifestation is enjoying the process and growing from the experience and staying detached from the outcome. I can't say that enough. All right. So most people give them, I love this. Okay. So listen carefully. Okay.
This is exactly Steve's training.
I'm sorry. Did somebody have a question? Okay. Just checking. All right. So if you have a question, just, yeah, feel free to just chime right in. All right. Or a comment or anything like that. So most people give their majority of their attention to whatever is happening in the experience right now. Okay. Meaning if the result pleases them, they feel good. But if the results don't please them, they feel bad. Get off of that roller coaster. Seriously, get off that roller coaster. That's like saying, well, I'm going to have a good day unless I stub my toe. And if I stub my toe, I'm going to have a bad day. No, no, that's not how this works. That's like saying, you know what? I'm going to have an amazing business as long as everybody says yes to me. And if people say no to me, I'm out. Okay. You don't, you need to focus on what it is like internally, that success internally, not count on something outside of you to bring you the happiness. You bring the happiness outward. Okay. It comes from within and it goes out. All right. So when you learn how to deliberately focus your thoughts towards good feelings, regardless of what is happening to you externally, it is not difficult to find happiness and maintain it even before you accomplish your deepest intentions. All right. So when you choose feelings over circumstances, okay. So again, that's coming from inside going out. All right, so when you constantly are taking score and noticing the distance that still needs to be traveled, you amplify the distance, the task, and the effort. And that is why it feels like such an uphill battle. Wow. I mean, I know I've totally done that. I've totally felt that struggle. I mean, how many of you have felt that struggle? Absolutely. Yeah. Lori's like, yeah, me, you know, we've all felt that struggle. We're looking so far ahead to where we want to go that we forget to look back and see how far we've come. And we need to recognize that and give ourselves some props, you know, be like, wow, look what I've done. This is amazing. Look at the team I've built. Look at the parties that I've held. Look at the consistent work I've put into my business. You know, take those things into consideration. One of the biggest booms I ever had in my business, I remember talking to my upline and I was like, wow, you know, oh my gosh, just all of a sudden everything's falling into place. And I don't even know what I did. And she's like, are you serious right now? She's just like, you have literally been making phone calls for weeks. Like you did the work. Like it just all was like happening at once. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. This is amazing. But it wouldn't have happened if I hadn't done that work consistently for so long. All right. So you become powerful, you believe yourself, and then naturally take actions based on what you can control. And it's through that process that you realize that your value is not in the outcome or the achievement. Your value is in what you can generate in the moment, the power to make the decisions that are in your realm of control. When that becomes your greatest focus, making powerful choices, and it becomes a habit, everything you truly want eventually will come to be. And it's so important to recognize that. All right. So next you're going to need a plan. All right. When you have a plan and embody that plan, success happens. All right. If you think about it, if you're running a marathon, would you just sign up for the marathon, just show up that day? No. You got to train. You got to train. All right. It's the same thing in this business, right? If you are, you know, your intention is to have 10 recruits this month. In the next 30 days, 10 recruits. That's your intention. Are you just going to show up on the 30th day and be like, well, where are they? They should be here by now. No, you have to train. You have to train yourself on what to do. You have to practice on what you're going to do. And then you have to go and you have to take action on it. All right. That is, I mean, and I said this last night at Rally, if anybody was there or watching, you know, you can take all the training in the world and you can show up to every little thing that we do at Champion. If you don't take action on it, it's gone. If you don't take action on a new idea within 24 hours, your odds of doing it decrease by like something crazy, 90 something percent. That's huge. That is huge. And even though we record these calls, even though I'm just like, am I recording? Yes. So even, even though we record these calls, the people that are on live have a much higher probability of having success from this material and taking it to action than anybody else. Because the amount of people, we see who watches the recording, just so you know, we see, okay? We see who watches the recording, and it's hardly anybody. All right. And so, but the people that are here, and I just did this a couple weeks ago with my personal team, and there were 5 people on the call, right? And I had a call to action at the end, giving a massive reward to them, right? And those 5 people that were on the call, every single one of them did the action plan. There were 2 or 3 more, 4 more people that watched the recording. None of them did the action plan. You know, because they weren't invested. They weren't as invested as the people that take the time. So kudos to all of you for even being here. I mean, seriously, you are definitely going somewhere in your business. All right. So success is where preparation, this is one of my favorite quotes. Success is where preparation and opportunity meets. When you think about that, opportunity, if an opportunity lands in your lap, right, and you're not prepared for it, you're not going to be able to take advantage of it. And that's why it's so important to constantly and consistently be sharpening your saw by listening to training, and even sometimes training that you're just like, is this even relevant to what it is I'm doing? You know what? If it came across your path, it's relevant to you. It was put there for a reason. That's the way I feel about stuff. Whether it's a quote, a book. I was in a, I do a class on Wednesdays at the church, and they said this book, and I was like, oh, wow. And I'm like writing down the name of the book. I'm like, I think I need this book, because there's something about it. When they said it, I was like, oh man, I need this book. So I truly believe that. And so I don't know what that book might end up, where it might serve me. It may serve me in my business, but it may also serve me in that moment of crisis when something is going on with my children, and I'm trying to parent them. And it's one of those moments where I'm like, please God, give me the words to say right now, because I don't know what to do, you know, because it happens. It happens. It's happening more and more as they're getting older, because they're coming to me with real problems, you know. And so I never know, whenever it is that I'm training myself, when that's going to come into play and be of use to me. All right. So your first success assignment is to make a decision. What is it that you want? Write it down. How many recruits in the next 30 days? What do you truly want out of your business? What would be ideal? And I love to think about, like, okay, so in a perfect world, or in a perfect month, this is where everything would fall. In a perfect week, this is my schedule would look like. A perfect party, this is what they look like. My perfect hostess looks like this. Oh, a flat squirrel. Cam, you're so funny, because I told that story the other day. Because I was driving the car with Joey, and there was a chipmunk, and it literally like ran out and was doing one of those, oh, I don't know what to do. And then the car went over top of it, did not run over it, but it went over top of it. And Joey just kind of looked at me like, whoa. And neither of us said anything. And he made this face. And I was like, yeah, we had this regional, and she was always talking about a flat squirrel. And he goes, what? And so I told him the story. So you don't want to be a flat squirrel, because you don't know what it is that you want to do. You're standing there like this, and then you get run over, right? Because you're just like, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I go forward, backward? I don't know what to do. And then bam, right? Okay, so you don't want to be a flat squirrel. All right, you want to make a decision and make it clear about what it is that you want. Thank you, Cam. Nice tie in there. All right. So your second success key is to distinguish your mission, purpose, and your compelling story. Now, this is really vital. And this is one of those things that you're going to need to practice over and over again. All right. So do you have a mission? What is your purpose? How do you really want to impact the lives of others? You know, do you know the answers to that? If somebody asks you, if somebody asks you what it is that you do for a living, what's your answer? I sell Tupperware. Is that what you say? I hope not. I hope that's not all you say, because you do so much more than that, you know? And so it's important to kind of recognize that and have that ready. All right. Have that on the ready. All right. So, you might start a business, maybe like, so for example, I started my business to make money, right? But very quickly it shifted to the impact I could make on other people, just because I saw the impact that it made on me. And I thought, my goodness, people need this. There are other people out there like me. There are other people out there that nobody knows how broke they are. There are other people out there walking around with their Coach purses, driving their nicer, newer cars, who don't have enough money for the groceries in their cart. There are a lot of people out there like me, and I need to find them and I need to help them. And so that's kind of where it kind of got started for me. Like, that's where the shift happened. At first it was like money, money, money. And then it was just like, wait, I'm getting all this. That's awesome. I need to help other people do the same. And another one of my big missions that it just is like so heavy on my heart is I want women to have options, and men. I don't want anybody to sit there and feel like they're trapped in a dead-end relationship, a dead-end job that they feel like they can't afford to get out of, right? I want people to have options, and I feel like Tupperware gives people options. I truly, truly believe that. And so I never want somebody to feel like they're stuck in any sort of a situation because they don't have the finances to be able to afford choices. All right. So that is definitely like a huge mission of mine. And so, because I've known too many people who were stuck in, like I said, jobs, marriages, and it's not a good situation. And they're like, what am I going to do? I don't work. I can't make any money. I've got 4 kids, so I'm just going to tough it out. And I'm like, we're not here to tough it out. We're here to thrive. God didn't put me here to tough it out. That wasn't my purpose. It's not anybody's purpose, right? All right. So that just that's very heavy on my heart. All right. So here's a great one-liner for you. When you're meeting people. And some of you are going to be like, this doesn't apply to me, but just wait. I got you. All right. So, so when somebody asks you, hey, so what is it that you do? Or they see your title, or they see, Tupperware, and they're like, so what is it exactly that you do? And so I say, I'm a trainer and mentor with the most well-known and beloved company, Tupperware. And I say the name of the company. Some people, this is where direct selling training gets kind of weird for me. I prefer I live in the light. I do not like to pull a bait and switch. I don't even like to feel like I'm doing that way. I don't like to be elusive in the company that I'm with, or what my intentions are. That's just not me. That's not me at all. I don't like to be salesy. It's not comfortable. Some people love that stuff, and that is awesome. And if you're that person, rock on with your bad self and just do that, right? But I do. And so I just say, I'm a trainer and mentor with one of the most well-known and beloved companies, Tupperware. And I say, I coach and train men and women to create their own consistent business. And you can say whatever you want. Some people say their own strong economy. Some people say their, whatever, to live a life of their dreams. Some people say different things, but that's just what I say. And often, they would say, wow, that's cool, and so the big thing is, and so some of you are like, but I don't mentor and train, or I don't feel like I do that. Right. And so what are you taking a picture of, Lori? All right. So some people feel like they don't do that. Right. And I remember feeling that way, like, well, that's really great. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's really great, but I can't say all those things. I remember one of the trainings that everybody's like, oh my God, I got so much out of this training. This woman, it's like, at the beginning of they're like, how do you recruit so many people? And she says, at the beginning of my parties, I stand up and I tell them that I just wrote the last check to pay for my child's college tuition, and they're 5. And I'm like, well, I can't say that. I'm like, that's not duplicable, And so it's important to just kind of recognize that. Now, I will tell you this. It was always, when you're clear about what your intention is in your business, right? Remember your assignment, step 1, when you're clear and concise about what it is exactly you want out of this business, that can play into this statement. Because when I joined Tupperware, I used to tell people I am a leader of leaders. And that was my line. I am a leader of leaders. I am a leader of leaders with one of the most well-known and beloved companies, Tupperware. Like, hello, that was always my intention. I always wanted to be a leader of leaders. My first direct sales company, I heard somebody say that and I was like, oh, I want to be a leader of leaders. Like, I'm like, that's happening, right? And that was my attitude. And I felt so strongly about it. I was so clear about it from day one that when I would say that, just because I wasn't a leader of leaders yet, I felt it. Like, I knew I was a leader of leaders. I just didn't have the leaders yet. And so I was like, yeah, that's totally what I am. And it was funny because I got away from saying it for a couple of years. And then it was probably maybe like 5 years later, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I'm a leader of leaders. I'm like, this is so cool. It's everything I ever wanted. Right. And it's exactly, I am a leader of leaders. I've got a lot of leaders in my organization. And that is like the best feeling ever. And sometimes that's literally what'll get me out of bed and make me work when I don't feel like working, because I'm like, you know what? One of my leaders is out there working, and they're working because I may have inspired them at some point, or they're working because they have a goal. I need to be supporting them, and so that's what kind of keeps me going, is because I am a leader of leaders and I feel good about that. And I like that. I like being that. All right. And so what they say, the saying, dress for the job that you want, right? Think for the job that you will have, right? Think about that. Think for the job that you will have. And I thought, I am a leader of leaders, and now I have that job. And so it's so important to just recognize that. But you also need it to be authentic. If the words I'm saying, you can't think of a way for them to be authentic for you, find your own words. Just use this as a starting point. Okay? Use it as a starting point. All right. So, I didn't just wake up one day and like be amazing at sharing the opportunity. Listen, I can tell you, I have had some doozy conversations in the past that went terribly wrong. And, but that's how you learn. You learn more from mistakes than you do from successes. Everyone knows that. You learn more from losing than you do from winning. Hello. That's what builds character. That's what helps you know what you don't want. That's what helps you, gravitate to the things that you do want. All right. So, but you need to make it an intention, you need to make it a decision to be intentional about sharing your business and opportunity. That is so unbelievably important. And one of the things that you can do in your business is to partner with your leader. Partner with your leader to be able to go forward and take these steps forward. Before you have the courage to be able to do it on your own, partner with your leader, and they can do it via 3-way calls. They can coach you before you get on a call, and you can do it that way. All right. So there's so many things like that we can help you with when you raise your hand and you ask for help. So it's really important to do that. So we do have 3-way calls are a great way to get rolling with your recruiting. But the big thing is, and I'm going to talk about this a little bit further, is that you don't want to just be calling people and trying to like shoehorn them into your opportunity, right? You want to create that relationship. And so a great way to create that relationship is by inviting them to something. So we will be talking, just like last week, we talked about doing a party in your home or whatever. We're going to talk a little bit about that, but that's where we're going to brainstorm a little bit. Okay. Because I know somebody on here is going to be like, that's great, Ellen, but I've got 5 dogs. My house smells like dog and I don't want people coming to my house. Right. Or somebody's gonna be like, that's great, Ellen, but I have a dozen kids and it looks like I have a dozen kids and I don't want to. Right. Or they're like, that's great, Ellen, but I don't like people in my house. All right. So we're going to brainstorm and come up with different ideas and strategies to be able to have something to invite them to. All right. So, but with a 3-way call, that's a great way. And it's basically, you're reaching out to the person, you're making that contact. Maybe it's somebody, it's based off of a previous conversation, based off of a conversation that you had at Tupperware party, based off of a conversation maybe that you had at the event that you had at your house. But you kind of were like, I'm thinking now is not exactly the time. but maybe in a couple of weeks, I'm going to give her a quick call. All right. And so then you can just say, hey, I just, do you have a couple minutes? And they're like, yeah, no, this isn't a good time. They're like, oh, great. Do you have any time this evening? I just need like 5 or 10 minutes. It's just something I want to run by you. And so then, and just be like, listen, I've been thinking about you since you were over at my house for my VIP party. And there, you mentioned something about just how stressful it is with all of the kids' athletic equipment that is involved with them playing sports, even though they play sports through the school, there's still all that stuff. And I just, I wondered if you were open to just kind of hearing a little bit about what it is I do and see if maybe that would work for you. Can I send you some information? And so you send them in some information, and then, and you say, when's a good time for me to follow up with you? And so, and then, and just, in the next 48 hours. And so you schedule an appointment with them, right? And then you, as you're talking to them at that appointment, you let your upline director know as you're talking to them, be like, hey, I know you've got a lot of questions. So kind of new to this recruiting stuff. Would you care if could I introduce you to one of my business partners, and you can three-way your leader in? Some people are comfortable with that and some people aren't. That's okay. But that's where you can also invite them to another event, and we're going to get to that. All right. So, let's see here. Okay, so here's another thing. So another success, actually back it up. Okay, so when you're out and about and you're talking to people about the business, so say you're in a restaurant, right? And so you're talking to somebody and the server comes over and they're like, hey, how are you doing? You're like, man, it's awesome. It's great. I mean, why wouldn't it be great? You're in a restaurant in the middle of the day when everybody's at work and you're having lunch with a friend, right? Sounds pretty great to me. All right. So, just be like, wow, it's great. Awesome. And so then when the server, like about halfway through the meal, a lot of times my approach when it comes to recruiting somebody out and about is always, I go from the angle of, do you know somebody? Because I don't like being put on the spot. So I don't put people on the spot. Now, there's some people that love to just go straight in. They're like, hey, do you know anybody that sells Tupperware? Now you do. They like to do something like that. I'm more like, hey, do you know anybody who's looking for a little extra income? And then you can go into, I'm a trainer and mentor with one of the most recognized and beloved companies, Tupperware. And I started just to help make the ends meet and to work my own, and now I can work my own schedule and live my life on my terms. And actually, let me give you one of my VIP cards, right? And so with,
that's hot.
Quick little mute. And so with the VIP cards, what I do, I've done different things in the past. I've had postcards made at Vistaprint. I also, so Loretta created this break-even offer, and what she uses it at vendor events. And so it was catered towards vendor events. So earlier today, I sent her a text. I'm like, can you send that to me in a way that I can edit it? And so what I did was I made this VIP card, and it's designed that you can hand to people out and about. And I'm going to post it. Okay. So it's designed that you can hand to people out and about. And it says Tupperware VIP card. You too could live a life of options. And it says, call and text me to learn more about our business and receive any one item at 25% off. Refer a friend and receive any one item at 25% off. Host a cooking class, meal prep party, or online party and receive any one item 25% off. I can't wait to connect. This is something to give to them and be like, hey, I just want you to try on my discount. That way you can tell people as you're talking to people. Because what I find, you like that, Andrea, what I find is, sorry, I got distracted by the chat. I see that. I shouldn't be reading the chat. I should make that go away. So what I find is if I have something like this to give to them, right? And also if you have an invitation to rally, that's a great thing to give them, to be like, hey, come to this, blah, 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 right? But also something else that you can do. So this is like, they get 25% off of various items, right? But something else you can do, you can tweak this as well. And I like to do like a break even type of an offer. And a break even offer is when they spend $50 or more, they get free shipping, right? Because that offsets the cost of the shipping. Like my commission offsets the cost of the shipping. So I'm not losing anything, but they feel like they're getting something. So I'm like, hey, place an order of $50 or more. It's good for free shipping on order of $50 or more. Just call me with your order. And it just for me, it makes me feel like I'm giving them something right away. Right. So I like that. And it's something you can leave with them. All right. So your success assignment number 2 is to write about these questions. All right. So what is your mission and purpose? You got to be clear about that in order to be able to come up even with your statement about your business. Oh my goodness, I've messed up my papers. So what is your mission and purpose? How will I impact the lives of those I share my business opportunity with? All right. So how are you going to impact lives with your business opportunity? What's your compelling story? Figure out what your compelling story is. What is your one-liner when somebody asks you what you do? And if you are intentional about your recruiting and you go out knowing like, I want to be approachable so that I can talk to people about the business, when you walk into a restaurant, you want to be like, server comes up and you're like, oh my gosh, what the worst day ever, blah, 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 blah. Or you don't want to cop an attitude with the server and then later try to recruit her. That's not going to work. You have to be clear about what it is that you want out of this. And you have to have a single message through the whole experience. All right. And then, what do you do? So figure out what your statement is when people ask you what you do. All right. So the third success key is to choose your business partners and tip list. All right. We talked about this actually last night at Rally. It came up. It's come up in the past couple of weeks. Whatever your list is, your frank list, your tip list, your tip is who's talented, interested, and has potential, right? So your tip list, or your chicken and dirt list, whatever you want to call it, right? So when you need to have a list, you need to put stuff in writing and be truly, like if you're intentional about your business and you're intentional about who you want to invite in your business, you need to put it in writing just so that you can keep on track with it. All right, so do not skip this step. This is your assignment. This is your third assignment, is to do that. All right, and let's see here. So your fourth success key is to invite the people that you're talking to about the business, invite them to an event, right? So we're fortunate because we have Rally every single week. And so you can always invite somebody to Rally. I choose wisely who you invite to Rally because it's like inviting somebody to the circus and trying to have a conversation. It's super fun, but it can be a little much, right? So if it's somebody that's a little more introverted, it might like rock their world. All right. So invite them maybe before inviting that person to Rally. You invite them to come to your home to experience like a team cooking night, right? And that's where, 3 or 4 people do different recipes like pressure cooker and the chopper and like all these different things. And it's a very casual environment, or even just have Try Me stations set up. All right. And when you do it in your environment, you're in control of the complete vibe of that party, right? You're in control. So you're in control of, how you greet people at the door. You're in control of what your house looks like. You're in control of the music that you have playing, the smells that you have going on, right? You're in control of the beverage that you serve. You're in control of all of that. And so that is a good thing. How many times, especially if you've been doing Tupperware a while and you've been doing home parties, when you walk into somebody's house, you feel a vibe. I don't care. You feel a vibe. And there are times I walk into a house and the vibe is, I would like to get out of here sooner than later, right? And other times you walk in and the vibe feels hostile. And sometimes you walk in and the vibe feels amazing. You like never want to leave. You want to like sit down on the couch and drink some wine with your new girlfriend, right? And sometimes, the vibe is just like fun and crazy and just loud, and it's just like, you can just feel it. So you're in charge of creating that atmosphere. And so that's the good thing about those VIP type parties or team cooking parties, whatever you want to say, right? And it's a celebration party. But the thing that's great is that you don't have to come off this salesy approach. So you can call your friend and be like, hey, Dee, I've been thinking about you and I would love for you to come to one of my team cooking nights. I know I say team cooking nights, and you're not on the team, but I invite my friends and stuff to come and just have a good time because my team's kind of fun, and it's just a fun night, and we're just gonna be there hanging out and, you know, drinking coffee or tea or wine or whatever. You know, we're gonna be doing that, and it's great food, great fun. I'd love to introduce you to some of my friends, you know, and just invite them to come and check things out. That's a great thing to do. And then when you get them in and you're if it's somebody you already know, that's great. But if it's a, you know, a past host, if it's a great customer, whatever, you're just kind of getting them in so you can they can start getting to know you. You can start getting to know them. Recruiting sometimes is very fast and furious. And sometimes it's a long game, you know, and sometimes the best recruits, it's the longest game, right? Lori Morris was a long game. You know, she dated a party, she did another party, her friend did a party, you know, and it was just like, and it was over and over. And I was always just like, man, she's so fun. And talk about a vibe. You walk into her house and nobody leaves there a stranger. Everyone knows each other by the time they leave. You know, Dwayne's pouring wine and he's entertaining the kids. I mean, it's just like, it was a great vibe in that house, and it made me want her more on the team, you know, and so it took a little bit of time, but eventually she came my way. All right. So she's like 2 years. All right. So it is. So just slow down. You're building a relationship. All right. So don't be distressed when somebody tells you no, and don't just be like, well, she said no, I'm out. Like, I'm dropping her. I'm not talking to her anymore. You know, I'll whatever. We're still friends, but I'm never talking to her about Tupperware again. Don't let go of the outcome. Enjoy the process. Right. All right, so you want to make sure you're not a telemarketer, and by having an event for them to come to, that helps that, right? Okay, so here's where the brainstorming comes in. So feel free to put it in the chat. I'm going to be keeping an eye on it, all right? Where could you have some sort of an event besides your house? All right? I'm trying really hard not to answer my own questions. So just talk to me in the chat so I don't answer the question for you. All right. So think about that. Where could you hold an event besides your own home? All right. Oh, my church, kids cooking class. Yes. Beef O'Brady's here in Stowe, private room. Yep. Panera, happy hour. Panera will not let you sell in their room. You can have an event there, but they won't let you sell. So you just do need to, yes, the park, Miss iPad, whoever you are. All right, yes, those are great ideas. So for those of you that you don't necessarily want to or feel comfortable inviting people into your home, that's absolutely okay. Oh, it's Kathy. Kathy, Miss iPad. I didn't know your last name was iPad. All right. So yeah. So if you do something in a restaurant, you most likely are not going to be able to cook. And that's okay, because you can put up triming stations. So you can have the triming stations, have them chop the chopper. You can have them do the zoodler, spiralizer. I always say the zoodler, and then I'm like, that's not what it's called. It sounds stupid. All right. So you can have them using the grater. You can have them doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah. A coffee shop, the back room of coffee shop. Yes. You don't know how to change it to your name. All right. So yes, these are great ideas. I'm so glad you guys are thinking outside the bowl. This is a big deal, because a lot of times this is where people stop. They're like, oh, I can't do that, so I'm out. I can't do it. Right. I'm telling you, any idea we share, if you can't make that idea work for you and your circumstances, there is another way. When there's a will, we will find a way. So it's really important to do that. Let's see here. Okay. So this is an important question. Ask yourself how many people you're in front of every month. Truly, how many people are you in front of? When you go to a party, you're like, okay, 10 last week. I had 6 at one party yesterday. I had 5 at my party tonight. And count them up. How many people were you in front of that actually heard you talk about Tupperware? You know, were you at a vendor event and you're like, I was in front of 50 people. You know, I got all these people coming through. So many people. That's great. All right. But if your answer at the end of the month is like, well, I only had one party and 2 people showed up and I didn't talk to anybody else about Tupperware. Yeah, we're not going to go anywhere fast. Okay. So the name of the game is really being in front of people. And so even if you have a party, that's why I don't care if only 2 people come to a party. I'm going to be in front of them, and I have a chance to influence them and talk to them about Tupperware. Whether or not they join, they might have a friend or family member that is the reason why they're there, right? All right, so your 4th assignment is to schedule your own something, all right? And you can work with your leader on this too, because, you know, if your leader is scheduling something and they're like, you know what, invite your people to my thing, that's okay too. We have our bingos. That's a great place to invite people to. We have things like that. Absolutely. Lori, I had a few. Oh, Amy, Kathy is at the top. Oh, I had a few hostesses that wouldn't have a party in their home, so we did it in mine. It was fantastic. Yeah, that is fantastic, Lori, because you don't have to pack up your stuff. And if you forgot something, it's right there. I knew a lady, and she would book all of her January parties in her house. She would leave her house decorated for Christmas, and she'd book her January parties in her house. And people loved it, because that's why they didn't want to do their January parties, because her house was a wreck, because it was like half Christmas, half not, half we don't know what happened after Christmas break, right? All right, so so schedule something or get it in the works. Talk to your leader also. And then the other thing is too, another place you can invite them is to an online opportunity event. And we do have one coming up tomorrow night. If the invite is not out yet, it will be out very, very soon. So, and actually, if Jessica's still on here, just chime in, Jessica, if it's out. So yeah, online opportunity events, right? That's a great way. Yep, it's created. Thank you, Jessica. What time is it tomorrow night? Go ahead and put that stuff in the chat. Could you put a link in the chat? That would be kind of cool. Just occurred to me. I had a brainstorm in my head. Okay. So, all right. So, okay. The 5th success step is to get prepared. You got to get prepared. All right. So what is it that, you know, if somebody's interested in your business, what are you going to give them? What? Like your name scratched on a napkin? No, you need to be prepared, right? Now, what are you going to give them? Are you just going to give them a catalog and a flyer and with your info on the back? You know, did you print up the opportunity, like the say yes offer, right? Did you print that up? You know, what are you going to give them? It's really important to recognize what it is you want to give them. What are you going to give them that's going to make you stand out? Right? Because everybody gives, you know, recruiting papers and business flyers. Everybody gives that stuff, right? So what are you going to do that's going to make you stand out as somebody different? You know, you can, Loretta likes to put it in a gift bag, right? She puts it in a gift bag with tissue paper, with of course, catalog, flyer, all that kind of stuff. But think about what it is you want to go in there. Do you want to have a handwritten note saying, hey, thanks so much for thinking, you know, I'm so glad I met you. You know, take a look at everything. We've got some really great opportunities for you, blah, 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 whatever. And with a handwritten note in there. Do you want to put some keychains in there? Do you want to do gadget with my card attached? Yes. Do you want to put gadgets in there and just tie a little bow on it? You know, what do you want to give them? I'll tell you, one of the things that influenced me when I first got started, every time I sat down with Pam Cliff, she gave me a piece of Tupperware. Every time. And it wasn't anything big. Sometimes it's like a snack cup. But she gave me a piece of Tupperware. You know, and I just thought that was so cool because I didn't really have any Tupperware. Hello. Now I'm like, really? More snack cups? No, I'm just kidding. I turn around and I use them for things like this. So I love getting all that stuff. All right. So think about what you're going to do to make your packet stand out. All right. So your 5th assignment is to make packets. You need to make 30 packets. How many people you plan on recruiting? If you're planning on recruiting 10 people in the next 30 days, you need to make 30 packets because you're going to be passing them out, right? All right, so, all right, I have a little bit more. I told you we had a lot to cover. Where are we at? Oh, my goodness. Okay, so let's see where we can get. Skim through this stuff. And by the way, so this training, this training is from Steve Wiltshire. I love his programs. And so he does a lot of free programs. So if you go to his website, if you just Google Steve Wiltshire, you'll find his website. I don't remember the actual name of it. But if you go to his website and sign up for his emails, he'll send you so much free training. It's phenomenal. He does commercials for his Gold program. But seriously, there's a lot of really great content in his free stuff. So he's definitely a great direct selling resource. So definitely tap into that. I think he's phenomenal. But that's where a lot of this material came from. It's a combination of that and the book Get Over Your Damn Self, which is really good. That should come in kits. It's a really good book. It was written by a direct marketer. All right. So let's see here. Oh, okay. This is important. And this is one of the last steps is designing your commercial, right? And making sure that you, hold on a second. Making sure that you have a compelling commercial for your business, right? And so that goes back to really reflecting on what it is that why you're here, right? Why is it that you're here in the business? What brought you here? What compelled you to join the business? And you can start, a very easy way to do a commercial, and this is an old Tupperware thing, is, why did you start? Well, why did you stay and where are you going? Right? Why did you say yes? Why did you stay and where are you going? Right? Give them an ice cream scoop. I know it is all about the scoop. Gina, she's so smart. She's a good recruiter. So pay attention to what she's saying on the chat. All right. So your opportunity commercial, you want to make sure, and again, you can start with those 3 simple questions and craft it into, you're not, of course, going to be like, so why did I get started? Because I need money. Why do I stay? Don't say the questions. Okay. Craft it into something smooth, right? But that's a great place to start. But a little, like if you're at a party and you're doing an actual like commercial, a great little trick to do to get everybody's attention is tell them you're getting ready to do the drawing, right? And then just say, as you're, whether you're doing the drawing or if the host is doing the drawing, it's better if the host, because people always pay attention to the hostess. But just say, hey, real quick, before we do the drawing, I just want to say, way to go, Lori, for being such an amazing host. Isn't she just amazing? Let's just give it up for her, right? And then you starts with like an acknowledgement to the host, and everybody's like, wow, blah, blah, blah. Yes, she is freaking awesome. All right, so it starts with an acknowledgement to the host. So right there, you're scoring lots of points with these people in the room. You're getting ready to do a drawing, right? But you're putting that on pause for a second, giving her an acknowledgement, and then going right into your commercial and say, I know all you know that I'm a Tupperware lady, and I love this. I love bringing people into this space and seeing you guys have so much fun, because I think as busy men and women, we don't take that time anymore. We don't carve that time out for ourselves. And it's so important. And I love seeing you guys all connect, and I love being a part of that. So thank you for having me. And just be like, and then you can go into, I know we all know somebody that's been affected by, some sort of unemployment before or recently. We know people that are factory workers that go on, what do they call those when they take a break in the winter? I can't remember what it's called. But yeah, it's something. But you figure out the terminology, and then you're kind of in their heads. What is it? Furloughs. Now that's like military. I think, don't they call it something else? Do they call it a furlough in a factory? I don't know. All right, if anybody knows, put it in the chat, and you'll get claps for me. I don't know. So voluntary layoff. Yeah, I've heard a couple. I thought there was like a word. All right, it might not be. It may be just in my head. All right, back to the point. All right, so yeah, mandatory day off. Okay. So, but people that, that have taken time off, have forced time off, mandatory time off from work, or held retail positions and their company closed or anything like that, and just say, I want to thank you in advance for giving me, a couple minutes to share with you a little bit about my business, because, a lot of times we have too much month left over at the end of our money. Shut down. That's what I was looking for. Shut down. Kathy, oh, you got your name. All right, so we have too much month left over at the end of our money, or someone who's maybe divorced and not receiving any sort of child support, or other circumstances, or they're tired of working 50 hours a week in an awful, work environment, which happens more times than, you even realize, and people sometimes don't even want to admit. And I want to invite you to, be a talent scout for Tupperware. Even if you're not selling Tupperware, you can be a talent scout for Tupperware, because you could be the angel that comes into somebody's life and gives them a solution, a way out of this awful situation that they're in. We have reps that are sharing our products with friends and family and making $400 to $500 a month. They get free products and tax breaks and all the perks. We have reps doing a party a week or more, and they're making $800 to $1,000 a month, and so it's, and it makes them feel good. Sometimes that's all they need to be integrity with their bills. And so we have reps that are making a couple $1,000s a month who are working about 10 hours a week. And we have leaders that are making six figures, so it's a wide spectrum of opportunities available to people. And whether you're interested in tax deductions, or perhaps interested in starting a little college fund for your children, or if you want to enjoy the extras in life or replace some income of your full-time job, I'd be happy to share more about our business opportunity. And so then you can refer to, like, if you have a lead slip that you use for your parties, and we have 1,000 of them on the TW Champs website, so you can pick your favorite. You can refer to that. And there is one that's a scale of 1 to 10. That's the one I use. And you can say, on a scale of 1 to 10, go ahead and circle what you're interested in. Or you can just say, so if you're interested, your interest is peaked a little bit and you just want to learn a little bit more, put O on the back, on the corner of your order form. All right. So keep it simple. You don't have to always have all these documents and forms. I've gone to parties and I've left my party bag at home, and all I had was the catalogs that were in my car. And so I, of course, did not have party slips, and so just, it doesn't have to be super complicated, but that's a great way to share your opportunity commercial. All right. So I have one more thing, and then we will, you can ask some questions if you would like. The last thing is the interview. All right. So when you finally to the point where you are meeting up with somebody, talking to them on the phone or whatever, and I'm probably going to have to type this up and send these questions out, because I'm going to talk really fast and you're going to get mad. All right. So, but it is recorded, so you can go back and slow it down. All right. All right. So, so a couple things that are important if you're meeting with somebody face-to-face, whether you're doing it on Zoom or if you're doing it on FaceTime, or if you're doing it in person, right? You want to match their energy, their body language, and their personal space, right? So if there's somebody that's kind of on the table and they're like, yeah, sitting on the edge of their seat, I'm a edge of seat sitter. I don't know if anybody's ever noticed that. I will literally sit on the edge of my seat. I've only fallen down about 2 times, knock wood. But it's shocking. I used to actually even tilt my seat forward and sit on the edge of it like that. Right. So match their body language. If they're leaning forward, you lean forward. If they're leaning back, you lean back. Right. And so it just kind of puts them at ease. It's not like a trick or anything. It just puts them at ease. And that's the point. We want them to be relaxed, right? We want them to be all tense. All right. Self-management, staying on your agenda, focusing on serving them, but being aware of time and the exchange of the conversation. Because if you talk too much, you're going to talk them in and out of the business. No two ways about it. All right. Perspective words: if, suppose, might, could. So like, suppose you were to do this, or if you were considering selling Tupperware, or maybe you might want to blah, blah, blah. Right. All right. So you can go to a coffee shop. You can go to happy hour. You can have them over to your house, if it's a friend or whatever. And keep it light in the beginning. Hey, Ellen, thank you for allowing the opportunity to join tonight. Oh, you're so cute. You have to go to bed. Go to bed. Don't worry. When the recording comes out, you can forward it. Okay. And then you can forward it to the last, 5 minutes or whatever. All right. Thanks for joining us, Amy. All right. So, but keep it light. Tell me about yourself. How was your day? How's life? I love asking people, how's life? I don't know why. I just love asking people. I'm like, how's life? And they're always like, oh, it's good. And I love, this is a Steve line too. What's making it good? I've listened to so much of his trainings over the years. Yeah, I do. I've gotten a lot of stuff from his stuff. All right. So intentional questions about them. What have you enjoyed about your experience with Tupperware? Right? She obviously enjoyed something. She wouldn't be sitting there with me. Right? I'm curious what piqued your interest about learning more about Tupperware. And sometimes they're like, well, you said something about online. I might be interested in that. Right? And be like, so if you decided to join Tupperware and try, and your phone was ringing off the hook with friends saying, I want to have parties, I want to do this, and you were earning a couple $100 a party, I'm curious, how many parties do you think you do in a month? This is a really powerful question because it helps you understand what they really truly want out of the business. You know, because I've asked that question. Somebody's just like, oh, I'd want to do 2 parties a month. Like my schedule's just so busy. I just kind of want to do this for fun, right? So it's important to ask that question. And then other people are like, gosh, I do 4 parties a week. You know, that tells you that they want success. They want to have that. So you can talk to them about, you know, put what it takes. All right. So what would that provide for your life? What would you do with the money? You know, and calculate the amount. If they say they're going to do 4 parties a month, if they say they're going to do 2 parties a week, you could say, well, that's probably about $1,000 in commission and $400 in bonus checks. So what are you going to do with that money? $1,400. What are you going to do with it? You know, and ask them. And they're like, oh, I'm going to buy furniture. I'm like, oh, so do you want a sectional or do you want like couches? And they're like, oh, we've always wanted a sectional. Nothing beats that corner seat. And you're like, cool. So would you want leather or would you want cloth, right? Like a microfiber, like super soft. And then they're like, oh, leather, because I got dog hair and that just is Velcro to that. You know, they'll get them to flesh it out. Like ask them questions so they can start seeing themselves with this new couch. Can you tell I need a new couch? So I'm talking about couches. All right. So what do you suppose you would enjoy about being with Tupperware? What do you think you would least enjoy? All right. They'd be like, gosh, I'd really enjoy the friendships. And they're like, oh, but I really don't want to make phone calls. Right. It's important to kind of get to know all of those answers. You know, it tells you where they're at, what they're thinking. Okay. So then I also go ahead and answer a couple questions for them. Some commonly asked questions that sometimes they don't think of in the moment. So there's an easy way to do it. You can just say, what are the questions? I might need some of these directors to help me out. How much time will it take? How much money will I make? Is there training? There's another question, but those are some of the normal questions. How much time will it take? How much money will I make? How much to get started? And is there training? You know, is somebody going to train me? Those are some very easy, simple questions. But some of the other questions, is there support? Yes. That's definitely. But there's some other questions that sometimes people offer, like why would somebody host a party? What are they getting for hosting a party? Do I pay for that? You know, and so they ask some questions like that. Is there a minimal sales quota? Yes. Every time somebody asks a question, every time somebody asks that question. And so it's important to know the program, right? Is there a minimum sales quota? What kind of support do you give if I decide to join? How do I receive my initial products to show at my parties? Starter kit, right? And then talk about the Confidence Start program. The Confidence Start program, you know, really helps flesh out their kit really well. How much income can I expect to earn on an average party? It's a great question. Our party average $600. You get 25%. You know, and then is there ongoing training? What happens if I decide a business isn't right for me? That's a really great question. And you know, tell me about contests and incentives offered by Tupperware, and you know, tell me about your advancement leadership program. Are there medical benefits? You've been asked that. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. And so then you just want to, and then after talking to them, then you want to share them parts of your story that relate to them, right? And this is where coming to meetings is so unbelievably helpful, and knowing people's stories, because sometimes there's going to be somebody sitting across from you and you can't relate to them. Your lives are not really in sync. There's nothing really in your story that really you can share with them to relate to them. And that's where it's important to know other people's stories. Like Loretta. Loretta's story is nothing like my story. You know, she came to Tupperware almost making six figures, and she was the bread, you know, earner of her family. And she, you know, and she wanted desperately to stay home with her daughter. And so Tupperware was, you know, a means to an end for her. And so she was able to leave you know, a good job, and so be able to do that. And so it's important to know people's story. That's not my story at all. We were broke and busted and like depressed. We came to Tupperware, we needed fixed. You know, so that's not my story. My story is not having, you know, a fancy degree and working in a nice place. Hi, Dwayne. I'm assuming that Lori's talking to you. See a hand. All right. So, but yeah, it's hi. But yeah, so it's important to know people's stories so you can tell them something that's going to relate to them, to help them feel comfortable, you know, and feel like, oh, there are people there that are like me, because if you can't relate to them, they're probably not relating to you either. So it's great to be able to tell people those stories. So awesome. All right. So, so your last assignment is to work on this, work on an interview, practice, with yourself. You can, especially with phones now, you could record yourself and nobody would see it but you, which is very uncomfortable to do. I know it is. But it's one of the fastest ways to like hone your skills, whether it's your demo skills, recruiting skills, dating skills, is to record yourself. And then, or practice with a spouse, with your kids, with a best friend, with a family member. That is a great way to role play. All right, so I know I gave you a lot of assignments, but I'm telling you, this is something that can really explode your business. So you're making your list, right? In the next 24 hours, you're making your list. A great place to invite some of these people to is our opportunity event tomorrow night, okay? So make sure that you're tapping people into that. Another great place to invite them right away is to our Bowls for Boobies event next week. Now, remember that comment about the circus? That will be a circus, but it'll be a really fun, funny circus, okay? It'll be a really fun night, but just make sure they understand what's going to be going on, you know, before they come. But yeah, and so you can invite them to that. And in the meantime, pick a date for your own event, talk to your upline, figure out what it is that you want to do and get clear about it, and go ahead and date that as well. So you have 3 options to be able to invite people from your list to. And you can even, if you're not in the area and you're like, well, what am I supposed to do? Whenever we have rally, you can have a friend over to your house and be drinking wine and watching rally together and being like, hey, come watch this with me. So you just kind of get a feel, you know? So there's so much opportunities available for you to be able to recruit and grow your business. And so, so definitely take advantage of them. Does anybody have any questions about anything? I know this ran pretty long. It was a lot of information that I just threw at you and your head's probably spinning, but it is recorded. So you will be able to go back and watch. All right, if you have any questions or anything, put it in chat or unmute yourself and talk to me, because that'd be kind of nice. I am going to unpin myself so I can see all of you. Brady Bunch. Brady Bunch style. All right, any comments, questions, ahas? Thank you, nice seeing you. It has been too long, Christine. We would love to see you. Maybe we'll have to come out your way if you promise to come. Comments, anything? Thank you. You're welcome, Diane. You're welcome. Thank you so much for all these great tips. Jessica, are you 2 people on here? Is there another Jessica? That's my question. You're welcome, Sherry. Yeah, I don't know if that's a second Jessica. There are 2 different ones. Nice. I like Jessica's. Jessica number 2. Whose team are you on? You're probably with Jessica. Nikki. Oh, Nikki. Very nice. That's funny because both Jessicas are answering the question, so that's not confusing. Awesome. All right. Well, I hope you guys really enjoyed it, and do take action on these things. If you don't take action on some of these steps within 24 hours, 90% of you are not going to do it. And that's not why we're here. That's not why we're doing this. We're doing this to help you grow. So take advantage and put these things into action in order to see that you're a success. So awesome. Thank you, everybody. Good night. Let me stop the recording.